Welcome to BackPage Blues. I'm joined by Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online, and we are here for a transfer edition special. I'm very excited about this. I want to know exactly what's going on, and we are answering your requests here. A lot of people have been messaging in saying what is going on with transfers, so I thought I would get the big dog himself in to find out exactly what's going on. Charlie, I'm going to be frank with you.
Go on.
I'm worried.
What are you worried about?
Arsenal have been very proactive. Manchester United have been very proactive. You know, Man City have done some brilliant work getting a hold of Gundogan, and I'm worried. Why have we been so slow? Are we going to make any headway?
We will make headway. We are already making headway.
I'm reassured already. Your soothing voice and words have made me feel a lot better.
Yeah, unfortunately it's only you I have that effect on. Look, we all know that Conte is... What's Conte focusing on at the minute?
Chelsea.
No, he's not. He's Italy's manager at the Euros. He wouldn't be doing his job unless every thought in his brain was going towards that at the minute.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, that's the risk you take when you employ a manager
who's currently employed
in a massive tournament. Now, that's not to say that Conte rocks up and there's 5 signings, you know, that everything's on hold for Conte. That's not true. Obviously, the club are working behind the scenes, and Chelsea are already kind of... These deals are in the pipeline. I understand what people's frustrations are. You know, obviously Eric Bailey signed for Manchester United. They're probably going to get Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Xhaka has gone to Arsenal with Vardy possibly on there. Big money's already being spent, but look, that definitely won't be the last of the money spent this window. Chelsea will definitely sign a handful of players, not a whole team in and out, but we'll sign.
We don't need that though. We just need some quality additions.
Yeah, and look, those additions will definitely come. Chelsea will be spending in excess of well over £100 million this summer, and that's an absolute fact.
Okay, that's great. Anybody in particular? We've been hearing some good stuff about Koulibaly.
Yeah, well, this is one that came out on Thursday. We reported. Now, you know, it's absolutely clear that Chelsea need a central defender. We've all known about kind of John Terry's stipulations in his contract that he's not going to be first choice, or you know, at least he won't be guaranteed first choice. Kurt Zuma's still out, so Conte has been looking to Serie A, a league he knows very well, for defenders. The first sort of targets were Kostas Manolas from Roma and Bonucci from Juventus. Now, it's going to be very, very difficult to get those players out of those clubs. But Koulibaly, who plays for Napoli, he's actually said this week that he's well up for coming to Chelsea. It looks like he's going to leave Napoli. He's been fantastic for them. Massive, you know, big, strong, physical defender. Bayern Munich are also interested, but Chelsea look very much like the favourites for it. They're exploring the option of signing him. It's not to say it'll definitely happen, but you know, he's definitely one that's being considered.
Well, that's great news. We could really do with a player like that at the back. The position that troubles me is our central midfield. You know, Matic, these Manchester United rumours won't go away.
No.
If that were to come off, or even if it doesn't, we need reinforcements in that midfield area.
Well, I mean, the first thing to say is, as I said the other week, is that Chelsea are going to be so reluctant to let any players go to Manchester United, you know, with Jose Mourinho in charge. It's just not something that Roman Abramovich is going to want to see. So, I mean, it might come to Matic putting in a transfer request or something like that, Matic leaving somewhere else, or Matic staying. But one thing, Chelsea will be doing everything they can to stop that deal happening. In terms of midfielders, obviously the interest in Nainggolan is well known. And what's your song for him?
It's Nainggolan.
I've brought this into the office.
It's
happening,
popular, isn't it?
No, we're really trying to push this deal over the line just for that song. He's spoken about that deal a couple of times. You know, he's been quite open in the fact that he likes it at Roma. He's happy to stay there, but also he's happy to challenge himself. He's looking, you know, he's a big fan of Conte. He's excited by the challenge that Chelsea provides. He's been quite open in speaking about that. Obviously, we know that Chelsea have bid for him. They've actually bid 27 million for him, and that's been rejected. But that's just a kind of opening bid. Now, in terms of other midfielders, Everton's James McCarthy's actually been looked at. You know, that's a kind of contingency plan, I think. But the other one, another Premier League midfielder that was fantastic last year, is N'Golo Kante of Leicester.
See, this is who I wanted to get onto. Because if you ask me, if it was a toss-up between, say it was my decision and it was Nainggolan or Kante, I would go Kante every time. What would you do? Would you comment below? If it was put to you and you simply had to choose between Nainggolan and N'Golo Kante, who would you go for? Who would you go for?
Well, look, we saw how well he played in the Premier League last season, so purely for that, I think I'd lean towards Kante. But Nainggolan is a very exciting player as well. And to be honest, I think the whole midfield could do with a rejuvenation and an injection of energy.
He would provide that, wouldn't he?
So, but it's not out of the question that both will will come, although
nice.
I think it's unlikely. In terms of Kante, he can leave Leicester for £20 million. I'm pretty sure he's going to be looking to do that.
Okay.
So Chelsea are going to be battling the likes of PSG for his signature, but obviously he's French as well, so that'd be an interesting move for him. But it's one that Chelsea are definitely interested in.
Okay. And what about slightly further up the pitch? We obviously need some rejuvenation going forward. We can't be reliant on the players that we have. I think we've debated Oscar plenty of times.
Yeah.
Who's going to fill that void?
Well, obviously since the end of the season, before the big party in France kicks off this summer, which you're going to.
I am. Can't wait.
Come on, England.
Can't wait.
There's been a lot of friendlies, and Chelsea scouts have been all over Europe looking at the top players and seeing who they can bring in. One top player, and a very young player, very exciting player, is Leroy Sané, German player, very very fast, big hair, very direct. He's been on the big clubs radar for a long time. He's in fact he's so well touted that it's going to cost about 35 million to get him in. Okay. But these are transfer fees these days. You're paying for potential.
That's what we should be spending on players. That's we've tried to do it. We've tried to take a few shortcuts in recent transfer windows, and it really hasn't paid off for us. So I think this one we really need to learn from our mistakes and go all in. And a player like this guy would be that, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it really would be. I mean, look, you'd be absolutely nailing your colours to the mast with him. But it's exciting. I'm not saying that he'd maybe come into the team straight away because he is so young. But it would certainly be a fantastically exciting prospect. Now, the other one which we've spoken about before, and one that would certainly go straight into the team, is Morata.
This would just be the dream, wouldn't it?
He's going to be leading the line for Spain in the tournament.
He's kept Diego Costa out of the team.
Yeah.
That's how good he is.
Well, I mean, he could be keeping Diego Costa out of another team, potentially.
Playing together.
Hopefully. Yeah. But no, it's a real interesting one. It's a real sort of messy deal. I know we've spoken about this before, so I'll be quick. But obviously he's at Juventus. He is a Juventus player, but Real Madrid have a buyback clause.
Yeah.
Now, what Real Madrid intend to do is buy him back for, I think it's 30 million, and then they can sell him for about a £20 million profit. Now, Chelsea and Arsenal are both in the running. Now, the reports are leaning a lot more towards Chelsea. Everything we were hearing in the office is leaning towards Chelsea. However, there is a hitch. Now, this has come to light this week. I think on Wednesday or Thursday we reported it, and it concerns Paul Pogba. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean Paul Pogba's coming to Chelsea, but Real Madrid are absolutely set on getting the world's best player from Euro 2016. The player that really shines at the tournament. All signs point to that being Pogba. Pogba's set to have a really good tournament. So Real Madrid and Juventus have already had talks involving a move which sees Paul Pogba go to Juventus. Go to Real Madrid. Now, where Chelsea come in is Juventus are going to be trying tooth and nail to try and keep Morata
as part of that.
Of that deal. The other thing that concerns Chelsea is that Real Madrid are willing to let Isco go to Juventus. Now, if Isco goes to Juventus, Juventus will not be buying Oscar.
Oh, I see.
So
we could do with Paul Pogba having a terrible tournament.
Yeah, and then he might come to Chelsea, eh? But look. So Chelsea is sort of
behind. It's really layered. This Morata deal is a troublesome one.
It's a really tricky one. I still think everything we're hearing at the Mail makes me sort of feel that it is quite likely that he comes to Chelsea. We'll be paying big bucks for him, but
it's money well spent. Yeah, though, isn't it? Such a good player.
Chelsea is sort of in the background of this massive, huge conversation between Juventus and Real Madrid.
Okay, very, very interesting. I think that means it's time for our Q&A.
Yes.
So I'll get straight into it. The first question is from Dominique Carazzi. Thank you very much for your question, Dominique. So, which former player could have done more if it wasn't for injuries?
Ooh. There's definitely a few of them. Yeah. I'm going to say he was brilliant for Chelsea, but I think talent-wise he's probably one of the best I've ever seen for Chelsea, and I think he should have done a lot more, for a longer period of time.
I know you're going to say.
Arjen Robben.
Yeah.
He was, absolutely brilliant for a few months in our, in 2005, our first Premier League win, not first title win. And I think, but by the end, people forget that he stayed at Chelsea till about 2007, 2008, and went to Real Madrid. Didn't really quite happen for him, and by the end, he was sort of more on the bench or more on the sidelines than actually playing.
Yeah, it was a shame. Shame to see it.
Yeah, so I think if we'd really got an elongated spell of Robben being fit and firing, I think you'd be looking at potentially a Chelsea legend.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a fair few. I think Michael Essien really could have gone on to greater things.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. He was unplayable, probably the best midfielder on his day.
Yeah.
But it just was cut short. Kazuragi is a famous one.
Yeah.
And I think Robbie Di Matteo, I think his career prematurely ended, didn't it?
It did, yeah. He had to retire of a bad challenge in St Gallen.
I think there's a few.
But Kazuragi was a real shame.
I think you're right. I think Robin is the one. Yeah. We've got a good question here from Chelsea HQ. Scott, thank you so much for your question. I haven't heard from you for a while. Nice to be back in touch. What are your thoughts on Chelsea's pre-season tour? Are you worried?
I am a little worried, actually. I think, that I've been saying it for 9 months. I think a lot of the problems that we saw in the season just gone, stemmed from a busy pre-season where we did a lot of travelling and not enough games, not enough preparation. I think it was so clear.
We were everywhere, weren't we? We were in Thailand, we were in Australia, we were in America.
It was ludicrous. Yeah. And look, it seems that way again. I mean, the day after the European Championship final, Chelsea are expected to meet up and meet Conte as a group for the first time, and then they're going to Austria to play 2 games. Yeah. Then they're going to America. Right. And then it seems like Chelsea are actually going to Russia. Yes. The week before the season, which is obviously a favour for a certain owner.
I can see that. I can see how that one came about.
That we know and love, but it does seem like a busy one. I'm just hoping that we don't see the same sort of problems where we come in unfit and unprepared, especially considering a large portion of the team will be at the Euros, and not only at the Euros, obviously people like Willian at the Copa America as well.
Of course. And our final question is from the Peace Frog. And he says, do you remember our tangerine and graphite kit? And did you own it?
Yes, how can I forget it? In fact, here's a fact for you. It's my first ever Chelsea kit.
Really?
Yeah.
I certainly have it as well. In fact, I will dig out a picture and find me in it, and I'll get it up for you. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We hope that cleared it up. I think that there's some good stuff there, and there's some room for optimism regarding our transfers. Charlie from the Mail Online, thank you so much for coming in. Mate. And this is the last time you'll see me on these shores. From now on, the videos in the future, I'm going to be in and out of France at all of the England games. So I will be coming at you live from there. Go on you Blues, and go on England. Welcome to the Chelsea Fans Channel. Now, I am buzzing. The Euros are nearly upon us, and we all know who's going to win. It's obviously going to be England.
Rory, let's not jump ahead of ourselves here. We've got some major competition coming up from other countries, so let's look into it.